Good morning and welcome to my Module 2 reflection. Today I'm going to be reflecting on this week's scholarly articles and my research process towards my research question, which is how to improve education in the virtual model for students with disabilities. As everybody knows, we're still hopefully nearing the end of the COVID-19 pandemic, but almost a year ago now, the schools were shut down due to the pandemic, and we were forced to go to a virtual platform of education, just like overnight. This has caused so many issues with students with disabilities. It's been a change in their daily routines. It's been a change in their social interactions. It's been a change in their education in general. And most students, not most, but a lot of students with disabilities are struggling with the virtual platform of education. And ultimately, those that thrive and they need that stable routine and social interaction and things. So this week, I reviewed some more articles for my literature review. I did a lot of research on what articles are going to be relevant. So a lot of time spent on the computer, spent reading articles, some that were relevant, some that weren't. So number one, what did I learn about my research topic? I learned that there is so much information out there. Even though my research topic is something that's relatively current right now, there's still a ton of articles out there, news reports. There's so many things out there that I just wasn't aware of, and my realm of research is just huge because there's so much going on, so many people who are concerned and researching and trying to decide what's best for our students. Number two, what did I find any gaps in literature? Not really. All of my research, since it's such a current research topic, all of it was relevant. All of it, there's no gaps because almost every day there's something coming out about the online platform, about the change, about, me as an educator. I've been in and out of the classroom so many times just throughout the last year because, one day our regulations and our setting per se has been one thing, and then the next thing has changed. So one day I might be going into the classroom with my students, and then the next day they're like, oh, we have to shut down again. Or vice versa. We might be at home, and then the next day they say, hey, you need to come and bring in 5 students. So the research and the information out there is so current. There's not really any gaps because, every day there's something new coming out or something that's previously been done that's being revised. So it's just staying on top of what's current is the difficult part. The next thing, if I was to conduct a study on my research topic, how would my study contribute to the literature review? I think there's a lot of school districts out there already trying to decide what's best for these students, trial and error. I've been doing the same thing in my classroom. So if I was to conduct a study on my research topic, I think that being able to pull into what I've already read about, what has worked and what hasn't worked for other school districts, and being able to put those into play. If it haven't worked for another one, there's probably a good chance it's not going to work for me unless they were trying it in a setting that it wasn't really directed towards. So I am in a small school district, so something that didn't work for a big school district might work for my district because we are so small, and I have a smaller caseload than those bigger schools, and I am the only SPED teacher on my campus. So me being on my own with my one aide that I do have, that could also play into, reading the literature, deciding what didn't work for them, what did work. So trying to find those things that worked for a smaller class size with less teachers would be key in that area. Next is, what have I learned about the research process so far? To be 100% completely honest, it is a long, tedious, very, drawn out process. I am not a researcher. This isn't the first time I've taken research classes before and I've done some research stuff before, but it is a lot of work, a lot of hours on the computer, a lot of hours reading, and what you read might not be relevant to what you're trying to research. So, the process is, if you're not a reader, it's going to be difficult for you. Reading all of those articles, that some are going to work and some aren't. It's just a long, tedious process. And but it is rewarding when you do find an article that is relevant to what you're doing, and you're like, yes, I'm going to use that. You set it aside, write an annotation, make sure you have that nearby, because, you know, it is a good breaking point, as you might say. Next is, how can I apply what I've learned in this module to my current practice? I have read a ton of articles, and I have already jotted down some things that I've read that other school districts are doing for their students with disabilities during this time that I am already putting to play. You know, these one-on-one virtual settings with students who might be struggling with mental health, or, you know, mentally. I can set up those one-on-one sessions with them and just give them time to talk. It might not even be to do, you know, an academic intervention, but just to give them someone to talk to and voice their feelings and their concerns and their worries too. And then also there's some teachers in other school districts that are doing, you know, the small group settings, and I am one of those teachers as well, but I'm putting into play what some of their safety precautions are and some of their things that they're doing. You know, we go out to the patio to do certain things. They're staying 6 feet apart. So just reading and seeing what's working for other districts and putting it into play in my classroom has been a huge key, and I want to continue to do that. You know, even if my research, you know, finding articles is over, I'm still going to continue to research and to look up what is working for other districts, just to help me in my classroom and help my students get through this until we can hopefully go back to the classroom as normal in the near future. I've really enjoyed researching this, especially because it's a topic that's really relevant to myself, to my classroom, and to what's going on in education right now. So I look forward to continuing, and I will see you next week.